Hi, everyone. Welcome to the RavenRabbit Wellness Studio podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Jackie Cope, and I'm here to talk to you about all things life, healing, and happiness with the spiritual indigenous approach. Enjoy the episode. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the RavenRabbit Wellness Studio podcast. I'm your host, Reverend Jackie Cope, and I'm coming to you from Anza, California. Today's episode is connecting with your animal guides. And I was very intentional in choosing those words because I want to be wise in the way that I'm sharing and doing this information. I say animal guides because there's a lot of misinformation out there in the world about spirit animals. And as an indigenous person, I know a lot of indigenous cultures are trying to reclaim that term, bring it back. I've heard somewhere they've said that term was imposed on us, which I would agree more so. It was more of a stereotype that existed just because of that natural connection to nature and animals. But regardless of all of that, I do know how important animals are in our world. And they do bring so much joy, power, laughter, and guidance to our lives. That's why we have pets. We adore our animals. We want to go to nature and observe them. For me, I've always had more of a respect for animals. Anyone who knows me, I am not a huge dog fan. I don't want dogs jumping all over me. But that's just because in the tamed world, we have trained our dogs to behave in certain ways. And our domestic dog's job is to protect the owner. So for me, I don't like dogs approaching me and stuff because at the end of the day, they're always there to protect who owns them. So I've had my issues. People would say like, oh, Jack, you talking about animals? Shouldn't even really like animals. I do like animals. I like animals from afar. I like animals in my dreams. I like animals to be in nature where they're thriving and happy. But I wanted to make this episode today because connecting with our animal guides can really help us on our spiritual journey. If you're new to your spiritual path, connecting with animal guides can be really powerful in helping you figure out your next steps in your journey, what messages are supposed to be coming through. When I've been giving readings to my clients, I notice the animals that start to appear in their reading, and I ask them to go home and do some homework and research these animals because there's a reason they have made themselves show up in the cards and in their readings, and there's some kind of lesson to be learned there. So understanding our animal guides is so important. I also say guides because I think the misconception with animal spirit is that in some way that animal spirit resides within you and you're taking that animal spirit as your personal spiritual identity. And I don't believe that that's how it's supposed to be. We're not here to take the animal's energy and embody its spiritual essence. We're here to learn from the animals. With that in mind, I really want you to rethink how you've approached spirit animals or that type of work and really start decolonizing that idea and wherever it came from, and really just start to think about what you can learn from the animal, looking at their spirit and who they are and the magical things that they have naturally, and what can we learn from that. And then how can we then apply that to our own lives so that we're not taking on their essence and energy, but we are honoring what they contribute to this natural, beautiful world. So I think another thing that occurs too when people think they're doing spirit animal work is a lot of times when we're doing it consciously, we really just gravitate towards an animal we like consciously. So for me, lots of my friends already know, like, my favorite animal is the orca, and I will always gravitate towards that animal. That's something meaningful in my life and has its own meaning and purpose. But I think when we're trying to meet our animal guides, there's something deeper there. And it should be an animal that you wouldn't necessarily pick. It might surprise you, and I hope that it does, because there's going to be such a good message and such deep meaning in that animal that it's going to change your perception about a situation or how you approach something or how you're acting in your day-to-day life. I hope that the animal you find in this animal guide connection is off the wall. And if it's off the wall, then it's something definitely to be looking deeper into and learning more about. So before we dive into going on your journey to find your animal guide, I'd like to share a little bit about my story and how I found my current animal guide. I do believe that they can shift, that they serve certain time periods with you, and they may come and go. Some may stay for longer periods of time, but always be flexible in that a new one could pop up and you may be building a relationship with a new animal guide. So when I got started in my animal search, it wasn't something I was really looking for, but I'm very open to all types of modalities and spiritual realms. So I'm always open as long as it's the highest and best and is going to serve me and be divine and aligned to the light, then I'm usually open to it. So I had been reading a book from a shaman, and I'm always very careful what type of books I pick. Make sure you do your vetting, you research who they are, and that you feel aligned to it. And it was more of the how-to around finding all kinds of guides. Animal guides from lower earth. We had where we are in our present earth, and then going up and above to find your spirit guides. So I felt really called to do the animal thing, and I had never really felt called to do that. I've always known I like the orca. That's my animal. But that was always just at a conscious level that I knew I was drawn to that. So I was like, let's do it. I'm going to go on my journey down into the lower and find who my animal is. And when I refer to the lower, I like to think of the Lakota ways of being, that we have below us, we're here in the middle, and we also have above us. So it's just a different frame of mind and different teachings. If that's something that interests you, I'm definitely going to make a podcast about that in the future, and you could also start researching that now. So in my meditation, I traveled down to lower earth and was on this beautiful journey. I see things in my head very clearly. I have a very big imagination, and I feel like I'm tapped into that other side where I see things that aren't always the way we would imagine them. So I went on this beautiful journey that was very visual. I came across, I know two animals. One I remember, and I was like, no, that is not my animal. Like, I got a feeling that was like, that's not it. Because there are things, I do believe you need to be very spiritually strong when you're doing this work, and there are things that'll come out and test you. So you do need to make sure you're sticking to and really being true to what is highest and best and what's good for you. This was at the beginning of my journey, so I think that's why that happened. Now that I am so much stronger in my connection, that hasn't happened to me in a very long time. So yeah, something came out at me, and I was like, no, you're not my animal. You're not welcome here. That's not who I want to work with right now. And then I kept going on my journey, and I met my spirit guide. So when I take you on your journey, I'll kind of share from just my perspective of what it looks like, and you can absolutely imagine your own. And imagination doesn't always have to be clear seeing. You could be hearing it, feeling it, intuitively knowing it. And one of the things is just kind of seeing it play out in your head. So there's lots of ways to be connected and know. So don't let anybody ever play down your ways of knowing. We all do it uniquely to our own individual selves. So as I traveled down, I told you I came across them, different animals. So finally, when I felt like I had reached the point where I was supposed to be, I was looking out over a very beautiful lake. It was kind of deserty around me. There wasn't very much greenery. It was kind of brown, and it was still beautiful. And I was looking out over this vast water, and what came out of the water completely shocked me. It was something I told you consciously I would have never picked for myself. And it was giant. It was, as it emerged out of the water, I had to like tilt my head back to see it. It was a giant pink seahorse. And it was just so majestic. So the seahorse was coming out of the water, the head first, and then the body. And I'm saying he, I'm not sure. The seahorse was right in front of me, and I'm looking up at it, and I was like, this is my animal. This is my spirit guide. For me, I feel a deep connection to that one. I think that the seahorse has been waiting for me for a long time. I think the seahorse will always be there. Right now, it's a stronger relationship because it's newer, it's being developed. But I think the seahorse will always be there. And then now, I've been getting new spirit animal messages that have been coming through. And if you would have told me before in my spirit journey I would be working on this, I would have told you, no, that's not my thing. You know, leave that to somebody who's more versed in animals and a true animal lover. But the universe has its way of working. So here I am teaching it, and living it is the big part. I'm living it and I love it. And being connected to the animal world is amazing. So my seahorse was there. When I saw my seahorse, even though I am very visual, the way we communicated was I just heard it in my head. We just knew we were communicating, like some would say telepathically. We were just talking. And the seahorse told me he'd been waiting for me a long time, that he was so happy I was there, and that he's excited to like start helping me along my journey. And then from that point on, I started seeing seahorses in my conscious real life everywhere. It was really interesting, and it was an animal I had never really paid attention to, and an animal I find very unique. So I'm still building that relationship, and I'm loving it. So what I'd like to do today is to take you on that journey yourself. If you're ready to do something like that, do a little meditation and start your walk in that direction. So if you've never done a meditation, I would suggest going through, there's so many great creators on Spotify, finding some breath work, finding a way to get grounded, because at this point when I went to find my animal spirit, I was already fairly grounded. And I knew how to relax in a state of meditation, and I just let it go where it went without my conscious brain impeding it. Because when we're new to meditation, a lot of times our conscious and our ego wants to take over and tell us things like, that's not how it's supposed to be. And you get distracted, like, oh, I forgot about my laundry, I forgot about my dishes. You get a little distracted by the demands of life. So I suggest first getting more meditation under your belt, possibly doing some breath work, but it's your journey. Maybe even if this is your first meditation, maybe it's meant to start here because your animal just cannot wait to start working with you, and that's going to be your entry point. So just keeping that in mind. And if you already have your spirit guide animal, there's nothing wrong with going back in and meeting others. There's more in line for you. There's so much abundance in the universe, and there's so much collaboration that could be happening, that it's always okay to go back and find your next message. I would like you to start by taking a deep breath through your nose and exhaling. Find a comfortable place to sit or lay down. Inhale. Exhale. Find your Earth Star chakra beneath you. Call it back into alignment with you. Inhale and exhale. Bring your hand to your belly and your chest and feel your breath entering and aligning. Inhale. Exhale. Coming to a slower, calm state of mind. You are grounded. You are safe. You are connected. You find yourself next to a body of water. Could be the ocean, a lake, a river, a stream. You're barefoot and you're connected to the ground. You feel the dirt or sand pressing up against your feet. You can inhale and feel the moisture in the air. You look out over the beautiful water. You're looking towards the east, welcoming this new journey and greeting this journey with abundance and love and curiosity. You turn to the north with the body of water to you towards the east, and you start to walk north. As you walk north, you see that the body of water shifts and changes to a waterfall. It might be a large waterfall, maybe a trickling waterfall, but there's water movement. You stop and you listen to the water movement. To the north, we welcome our spiritual family. We welcome our healed and loving ancestors to go with us on the journey. You get closer to the waterfall. You notice behind the waterfall there's an entryway. You're curious about the entryway. It's inviting. You see something glimmering and sparkling. You notice that it's crystals, rocks, and they're calling you in behind the waterfall. You get closer. You find yourself touching the entryway behind the waterfall and feeling the energy of earth beaming through your hand into your body, aligning all your chakras. You step foot into the entryway and it starts cascading down. There's an abundance of colors as you go down. There's no darkness in this tunnel, just light. You watch your feet go step by step as you're walking down till you come to a staircase. You take the staircase down a path, and all along you are sparkling crystals, ones that are there for you to bring you healing energy. It feels damp and moist and cool in this tunnel. You keep taking it down. Eventually you come to a landing. It starts to open up into a field. you walk out into the field. Out here in the field, you might start seeing animal guides if your animal guide lives in a fielded area. Out into the distance, you see a forest. You decide to walk out to the forest. It's welcoming. It's warm. It's shaded and cool underneath the trees. You look around, you might hear some birds. You're starting to feel the space around you come alive with animal guides. Some may cross your mind and path. Let them show themselves to you, because they may be revealing who they are, and maybe you'll work with them later on down your journey. You keep walking, and in this beautiful forest, you come to another body of water. But this body of water is in lower earth. It's beautiful. It might not follow the laws of our physical reality here on earth. It could be a little bit different. And here's where you come to sit. You sit and you're welcome and open your energies to your animal guide spirit. You bring your palms up and open, sending out welcoming, warming, radiant energy. You say to your animal spirit guide, wherever they may be, I'm ready to meet you. I'm ready to learn from your wisdom that you can bestow upon me. Maybe an animal reveals itself to you. Get acquainted with your animal. They already know so much about you. They've been waiting for you. But you have some learning to do. You must get acquainted with your animal spirit guide. You might want to start asking questions now, but right now the time is just to be in their presence and to feel their love and warmth around you. They already know your questions. Just enjoy each other's company. You may start to play with your animal, running, swimming, jumping, flying, whatever it is your animal invites you to do. Go on that playful journey with them. Animals love to play. You're building relationship. You play with your animal as long as you need, and in this time and space and reality, you set that time, and it could be whatever you want it to be. Maybe you play for a few minutes, a few days, weeks, maybe a year you need to be with this animal. You tell that animal how long you want to play. And in that reality, it'll happen. Your body becomes a little bit tired from playing and meeting your animal. You sit back down by the edge of the water. You lie down and you look up at the sky. You take a nice deep breath in And exhale. You're thankful to have met your animal guide. You're ready for the journey ahead. Because it may not be an easy one, what your animal needs to teach you. But they will take you every step of the way. You say your goodbyes to your animal in this realm. But you know that they're always there if you need them. You can call upon them. They'll leave you messages here. You turn and you take your path back out to come back to your safe space by the edge of the water. At the beginning of your meditation, you walk through the forest. You frolic through the field. You find yourself at that landing to go back up the stairs. You travel back up the beautiful cave with all the crystals. You can smell the water from the waterfall getting closer. You start to hear its constant noise. You can see the light from the sunshine coming through the waterfall. You make your way to the entryway. You step out of the entryway and out of the back of the waterfall, back to the water's edge. You make your way down south, back to where you were. You find yourself at the edge of your initial large body of water. You take a deep breath in and exhale. You thank the water for all that it's done for you. You thank your animal guide that met you. You bring your hands to your heart center. You inhale through your nose and exhale. Again, inhale. Exhale. You lightly start fluttering your eyes to come back out of your meditation from lower earth. And you come back to your consciousness and into your authentic self. Thank you for taking that beautiful journey to lower earth with me, to the below. I like to just say the below. The first few times I did that, I just would go down and just be in peace. I think I did it maybe 2 times before I met my seahorse. So it was a process, and you have to come in it with good intentions, and I hope you found something really beautiful there. Whatever message came through is what is in your time where you're supposed to be at, so don't discount it. If it wasn't an animal and maybe something else came through that was pure and love and light and divine, go ahead and find out what that is and think about it. But if your animal did come through, I would love to hear if you're willing to share what animal came through. That would be so amazing to hear. I'm grateful for your trusting me to take you on that journey. I hope it served you well. I hope you continue to listen and interact on Instagram, Facebook. Reach out to me if you have any questions. We're all in this beautiful journey together. We're all just trying to figure out our own journey and see where we're going. So thank you for joining in on this episode, and I'll talk to you next time. If this podcast helped you out in any way, you got a good story out of it, you enjoyed it, it maybe enlightened your day, please share this podcast on any social media you have. Let your friends know about it, your families know about it. That is the best way to thank a podcaster and small business owner. Share away.